Hi, I'm Janet Peckinpah, realtor with William Pitt International Realty in Essex, Connecticut, and I'm here at the beautiful Weekapaug Inn in Westerly, Rhode Island, and I'm joined by Michael Jabouri, principal of Worth Avenue Capital Fund LP, and we're going to talk about how you become an investor in your fund, why would I want to, and how do you get there?
First, good morning, Janet. Thanks for being here with me today. To be an investor in Worth Avenue Capital Fund, or any private lending fund for that matter, you have to be an accredited investor.
What's that?
Accredited investor is a specific formula that you have to meet, and that is you have to show at least $200,000 a year in adjusted gross income, or you have to show a personal net worth of $1 million, and or. You can have them both, but you only need one of the two to be considered an accredited investor. So you have to meet the criteria of being an accredited investor to be able to invest in the private lending fund.
So it sounds like someone, certainly with that kind of worth, would be already heavily invested in stocks and bonds. So is this just part of that? Could this be part of that whole portfolio, perhaps?
Absolutely. In fact, everyone that I deal with that invests in the fund or has been lending with me previously on a one-off basis, they're all people that are fairly wealthy in terms of investable assets. It all becomes, you use the term a pie chart. Everybody has a pie chart in terms of their investable assets and how they invest it. Some could be invested in real estate, some could be invested in the stock market, some could be invested in a bond fund. This is part of the pie chart. You want to have some of your money invested in a private lending fund because it is different than investing in the stock market. In fact, it's a hedge against the stock market.
How could this be a little less risky than investing your money in the stock market?
It's less riskier from the perspective it's more stable. Unfortunately, with the stock market, we see a lot of swings. You get where it goes up like a rocket ship, but we also had 08, 09 where we thought the world was coming to an end. The stock market basically crashed.
Right.
And that's really when private lending took off, and that's when more people who were accredited and are accredited investors thought, there's got to be a better way. Do I have to put all my money in the stock market? There's got to be other ways to invest my money. Well, this is another way, because we have real estate collateral, and we're lending against real estate at a loan to value of 50 to 60% typically. So if there's a problem with the real estate market and the real estate market crashes, well, we've left ourselves some room. If a loan goes into default, we can go and collect the loan vis-a-vis by foreclosing on the real estate, getting the real estate back and liquidating it to get our money back.
So much like a mortgage, in a way, if at a typical lending institution, they would own your house if you defaulted, but this is a short term.
Correct. And by the way, I've been doing this now 9 years. I've never taken back a property.
That's great.
We're very careful in terms of how we lend. So if you put money in the fund, we don't just blindly make loans for the sake of making loans. We do a lot of due diligence. We're very careful about how we lend our investors money, because the most important thing is that we preserve your capital. That's always number one on the list. And then we look to get you a return. And we've been able to do both very easily in the last several years.
If I were to come to you as an investor, would I be with a group of investors funding something,
Yes.
or am I by myself on a project?
You would be, if you invest in the fund, you will be one of many investors who gets diversification on day one. It's like as if you were to invest in a mutual fund.
Yeah.
If you were to buy a mutual fund, you've invested in many different companies,
Yes.
many different stocks. Well, it's the same concept. If you invest in a private lending fund like our fund, then you're investing in multiple loans at once. So you've gotten diversification the day that you invest.
And that's a hedge too.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. I wonder what sets Worth Avenue Capital Fund LP apart from other funds.
I think what sets us apart is my background as a former president, CEO, and co-founder of a community bank in Connecticut. And previous to that, I had spent many years as a commercial lender in commercial banking in Connecticut. So I understand what it takes to make a good loan to a small business or real estate developer investor. I have 33 years experience doing this, and with my other company, Worth Avenue Capital, I've been lending on a one-off basis with private investors, basically taking the community banking model and shifting it into the private lending model. The difference is I don't have the regulations that a bank has. So I can actually make some loans that a bank can't make, and they're all good loans. We make sure that they meet certain criteria in terms of an exit strategy. We want to know how we're getting paid back. We don't just lend somebody the money and hope that they're going to pay us back. We want to make sure that they can pay us back. If they can't show it, then we don't make the loan. But there's a lot of good lending opportunities out there because of the banking environment, and that's what we're taking advantage of
It
for our
sounds
investors.
like this could be something good for an investor, no matter what the stock market's doing.
Absolutely. You want to hedge. You don't put all your money in stock market, just like you don't put all your money in real estate. You don't keep all your money in cash either. You need to be diversified. It gets back to the pie chart. So any good wealth manager will tell you that you should have some money in the private lending space because it's a great hedge. It's a good way to preserve your capital and get some alternative returns on your money to create some growth.
Sounds great. Thank you for talking to me about this today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Janet. Thanks for being here.
If you're interested in putting some of your investable assets into a private lending fund with Worth Avenue Capital Fund LP, call Michael Jabouri for a private consultation at 203-605-4082.